This is Dr. David coming to you from Montreal, Canada, and this is the Retina HotMic case series from iCare PD, where the PD stands for Professional Development. In today's case, what we're going to be looking at is that of a 91-year-old man who presented to me, and I've been following now for some time. The diagnosis is that of a peripapillary choroidal neovascularization, and I think it's just interesting to note how this can appear on OCT. I am not telling you that there's no differential diagnosis to this. I mean, certainly you can get some atypical deep tumors or even pachychoroid syndromes that can present in similar manners, but this is pretty typical of the way they look, and I think seeing several on OCT is actually quite useful, so let me just show you this one today. You can see back in January of 2018, the patient presented. There's a lot of these, this very large spreading cysts. This is really going to be more along the lines of cystoid degeneration in a case of choroidal neovascularization, and you can see a bit of subretinal fluid as well. Because the peripapillary choroidal neovascular membrane, which was confirmed by fluorescein angiography at the time, because that was on the temporal side of the optic disc, that's more likely to seek towards the foveal center, which would ultimately affect vision. This patient was 100 at the time. And we did do a series of anti-VEGF injections, but as this had been pretty chronic in nature, we didn't get an incredible visual response. But if you do look over time, here's subretinal fluid, and after an injection here, you could see that subretinal fluid already going away. Cystoid degeneration not really changing too much, but you can recognize the foveal contours pretty good here. After a few more, things remain relatively stable. The vision didn't improve to any significant extent, just by about a line or two. But what you can note if you look at the topographic map, if you go back to the beginning, the area of increased thickening, as measured from the RPE to the inner retina, actually gets less with time, indicating that there's definitely a response. If I just flip over to the other eye for you, it might be interesting to take a look. If you look back in January, you can notice that the fovea is looking good. You don't see that area of cystoid degeneration, but wait a second, if you actually scroll, oh, there you go. Now you can start to pick it up. You see it right along the edge. So this is another nidus of peripapillary choroidal neovascularization, but in the fellow eye. This was much less. The patient was 20/30 vision at the time, and we didn't touch this eye in terms of any treatment. If you look over time, back in October, not much change, but then boom, March 4, 2019, what happens? The patient comes in, and you can notice very straightforward on the map that there's an area of increased thickening. Recall that that thickening is going to be measured from the RPE to the inner retina, and you can notice now more subretinal fluid and more retinal thickening. So this is an area where there's increased activity of the peripapillary choroidal neovascularization, and we went on to have a discussion about treatment. Ultimately, we deferred it on this day, but if things continue in this manner, this patient will end up being injected very soon. Well, all very interesting stuff, as usual, with the OCT interpretation, and this is Dr. David signing off, and I am always learning.